We're going to go over the implements and supplies used to do basic manicures and pedicures. Manicure is derived from the Latin manus and cura. It means the artful treatment and care of the hands. Pedicure, on the other hand, is ped for foot and means the care of the feet and toenails. When I started in this business, you had 1 in every 100 customers that might get a manicure. Pedicures were literally unheard of in our area. You'd go to a foot doctor to have something done. This is one of the fastest growing businesses in the salon now, or got the most demand for it. But running at a close second is skin care now, and the care of wrinkles and things that's going on with aging skin. So what we're going to basically talk about today is just the things we use and what we use them for. So, you know, a service is only as good as the supplies and the implements we use and using them correctly. But in order to become a professional at this, we need to have a knowledge of the structure of the nail, and we are going to take that in this unit. A knowledge of the composition of the cosmetics used in manicuring, the ability to give these manicures and pedicures efficiently and effectively, the ability to care for the client's manicuring problems and concerns. You know, I've got thin nails, or I've got nails that split, whatever, we need to learn to deal with that. The knowledge to be able to distinguish between disorders that we can treat and diseases that we shouldn't be touching and that they should get some medical care for. And a thorough awareness of the procedures involved in sanitation and disinfection. If you notice, that's some of the first things I said, had y'all sit out here this morning. So we're going to start with equipment. The difference in equipment and supplies is with equipment, we sanitize it or disinfect it after we've cleaned it, and we use it over and over again. A lot of our supplies are replenishable. Once we use them up, we've got to purchase some more. Implements also are a little different. They're little instruments that we use, and we usually throw them away. Some of them are reusable if we wash them and disinfect them. When students often look at this, they think, well, I'm not going to be able to afford to give manicures because it's going to be so expensive to get involved in it. But stop and think about swapping things out, one thing for another. When we talk about a manicure table, and basic manicure table is about $119. Doesn't come with a lamp on it, you know, or any of the niceties. But you get your little basic table. You may even use the table you've got at home. You just don't want it wide enough that your client has got to stretch across it. So sometimes little tables there will work. Walmart sells clamp-on lights for $6 and $7. So there's your table with the lamp on it. You want to be careful about your lamp on the table because it will cause your nail enamels to dry out quickly if you get too big of a wattage of bulb or get it too close to your client's hands. But on the reverse side of that is if it's adjustable so you can move it away when they're wanting their nail enamel to dry faster, just put their hands closer to the light, and the heat from the bulb helps dry it. You need your nail technician's chair and client chair, and usually if you're going to purchase this, you purchase yourself a stool. It does not have a back on it, but always make sure that your client is in a chair with a back on it. Do not put a client under the dryer for you to do a manicure on unless she is drying her hair and wants this manicure while her hair dries. It's very uncomfortable. Most of the hair dryers have arms on them, and when we go to slide our manicure table up, it will not slide up close to her, so she's got her head back like this and she's having to put her arms forward. If you'll notice back there, I've got a couple of dryers that I remove the arms from for that service. So make sure you get them and make sure there's room to roll that table up to them so they're not in. Manicure is supposed to be real comforting and restful and make you feel good and relaxed. A client's cushion. If you will sit here for a few minutes and just lay your arms on the edge of this table, you'll find it becomes uncomfortable and begins to cut in. And all a cushion is, you do not have to purchase anything special. Roll up a couple of towels and put there, is to keep the table from pressing into her arms. A supply tray, and the reason we talk about a supply tray is because you're more apt to knock this little bottle off if it's sitting over here by itself than you are to knock a whole tray off of that table. And a lot of these things will ruin your carpet. They stain the floors. So you want to be careful about keeping things in a tray. A finger bowl. This is the finger bowl. This is used with your basic water bath. Manicure. Clients are going to either get a basic manicure where you use this, and all you put in this is some of your antibacterial hand soap and some warm water. And this would be used when clients have a lot of stains. It's a little cheaper manicure than your hot oil manicure. Sometimes you will do it in conjunction with a hot oil manicure if they are wanting a hot oil manicure, but they've got stains and things that need to be removed from their fingers and nails. So that is our finger bowl. A container for holding clean absorbent cotton, and usually what you're going to use is a little plastic cup or something with a lid on it. You can even use a Ziploc bag. An electric heater is this right here, and this is to heat up the oil. It has the throwaway cup, so you just put them in. You have it with some of the oil that heats up, and this liquefies as it heats up. You would want to use about half that much. But once it heats up and you put their fingers down in it, you want to make sure it covers their fingertips. And this is also what you would use to massage their hands and arm with. And as we go into manicuring, we will learn to massage up to the elbow on the hands. So that is our electric heater. We have a disinfectant container, and this is where our metal implements should be. And if you notice, the tray comes up as we open it. So when it's closed, our implements are in there, and they're down in our disinfectant solution. So we close it and they've disinfected. We might want to have some type of little timer to set on top of it to know when we put it in there and make sure they stay the adequate amount of time. We raise it up, and now that it's not in the solution, we can lift it out with our hands. If we've got a tray that does not lift up, then we've got to use tweezers in order to get our equipment out. It's vitally important that we keep our disinfectant changed as we should. You know, if it becomes cloudy or milky, and read on the back of the manufacturer's box. This is our disinfectant. We want to make sure we understand what it is capable of destroying in the way of bacteria and viruses, and make sure we mix it correctly to put in our tray. We want that tray on our table all the time, or our disinfectant container, and we should have it closed while we're there, because we're going to be filing nails and doing other things that's going to cause stuff to go in it if we're not careful. Then our implements. We have our cuticle nippers, and these are used to trim excess cuticle around the nail. Or if we have a hang nail, which is cuticle, you know, it sounds like it's part of the nail, but it's not. It's cuticle around the nail. It's important that we hold these securely, because this is the cutting edge, and they are very sharp. We can see the cutting edge there. Georgia did not allow cuticle nipping when I started in the business. Matter of fact, they've only allowed that in about the last 8 or 10 years by cosmetologists or nail technicians. But you always want to hold your finger on top to hold them securely, and come down and cut. And it should cut. We shouldn't get it caught in there and have to pull it away. If it's not cutting through the cuticle, then it means that they need throwing away or sharpening, whatever. That is our cuticle nippers. Our cuticle pusher has an end so that we push our cuticles back on our nails with it. I do not like to use metal because I feel like it scrapes on my nail plate. We do keep this one back there. It is disinfectable, cleanable. I like to use an orange wood stick to push the cuticle back with. And I will usually try some cotton on it, and we can learn to wrap our own little Q-tips by getting a small amount of cotton, putting it on the orange wood stick, and then begin to roll. And until we find out how our client deals with, you know, is she tender-skinned or whatever. I don't mind the orange wood stick itself being used on mine, because I like mine pushed back hard. But you wrap the cotton on there to see, and you begin to push them back. And you've already soaked them in the hot oil, so they're relatively soft. Just use that to, can also be a cuticle pusher. The emery board, and I like emery boards because they're throwaway, and I always order travel size to use here, because that way we're not wasting a lot. And you got to remember that these emery boards file the nail, so it does get the person's DNA. Sometimes when we get to filing, we file into the side of the finger. This is why you draw more fluids or body fluids with manicuring and nail services than you do with hair services. So you want to be real careful. When you get through working on this client with an emery board, you want to break it and throw it in the trash. The dark colored side, and most companies are really good about being consistent with this, the dark colored side is coarse, and that's what you do your basic shaping with, remembering to shape from the corner to the center, the corner to the center, corner to the center, corner to the center. And once you do your filing, you'll turn over, and the light colored side of the emery boards are usually fine, so that it makes a real smooth finish after you've got the shape you want. A nail brush is used to clean the nails with. These also are disinfectable. This would only be used if you're using the water bath. But you dip it in there and scrub the nails with it. It helps to get off excess cuticle that may be there. Also helps to cleanse the nails. These are really inexpensive. I think like 40 cents a piece, so you want to keep a lot of them in there so you ain't got to worry about going and cleaning it up and getting back out here for your next client and it not staying in the disinfectant long enough. A buffer, this is called a buffer block actually. A buffer usually contains shamus cloth that can come off, and I don't like to use those. I do like to use the throwaway ones, but I like the wand top better. But this is to buff the nail to a luster on the top. Georgia used to did not allow buffing either, because the nail is constructed in layers, just like this, one on top of another. And every time you buff to bring up the sheen, you're removing what? A little bit of part of a layer or a layer. And if you've got the client in there that has thin nails, then you're just making them even thinner. But that's what a buffer is to bring up the shine. Nail clippers are just what they sound like. They're to cut off part of the nail. You have your fingernail clippers, and the larger ones are your toenail clippers. And if you'll notice, they have a bigger opening because toenails have a tendency to be thicker than fingernails. You don't get to use these very often though. Most people are not wanting their nails cut. A nail file, I don't have one of those. Again, it's a metal implement. It's like the emery board. It has a coarse side and a fine side, but I don't like to use metals on things, so I don't even keep one in the department. Then we have the orange wood stick. It's made from wood of the orange tree. It can be used to loosen cuticle, clean under the free edge. When you get through with this client, break this orange wood stick before you put it in the garbage, because we do have people that go through garbage and they get out things, and we're going to have plenty of DNA on our orange wood stick. We have our tweezers, and these are used to pick up loose pieces of cuticle, or maybe even to get our implements out of our sanitation or disinfection tray. So we want to make sure we get them disinfected too, because if we use them in there, you know, without cleaning them, then we have contaminated our disinfectant. Remember, with all the implements you use, they should either throw away or be washed and disinfected. Then we have our cosmetics that we're going to use. And one of the first things we want to have is a nail antiseptic. And an antiseptic is not to be confused with a disinfectant. An antiseptic slows the growth of bacteria. It may kill some. And what we use is a good cleansing alcohol. This will can be used on a sore, you know, like if we cut a place or nip a place. It can also be used to sanitize our workstations. I like to have an antiseptic such as Seabreeze, though, actually to use on the hands. The next thing we want to talk about is our base coats. And a base coat, if you have somebody that comes in and you take their polish off and you notice their nails are a real orangey color or yellow color, it is where they've been using polish without a base coat. A base coat is a clear coat, or it may have a little pink color to it. Not actually color, it'll still be transparent. But some of them do have the little shine to it. That's what I call it. But this is not only put on the nail to make your polish adhere better, it's put on the nail to keep the color from your nail polishes from going into the porous surface of your nail. And oftentimes when you tell them you need to use a base coat, they'll say, well, I don't use anything but pink nail polish, light pink nail polish. Why is it turning it orange? But that's how colors from your nail polishes react with the nail and the color it already is it seeps in there and it turns them an orange or a yellow orange. So make sure you tell your clients about the base coat, and make sure that you always use a base coat before you put nail polish on. Cuticle creams are something we're going to use around the cuticles to soften them. This is actually a cuticle remover. We can use the creams, and what this does is we're just going to take and squirt it around the cuticle so that it softens it. I'm getting some on mine right now. And we just rub it in to help soften up the cuticle. A nail cannot be healthy if the cuticle is dry and chipping and breaking. That's the first thing we're going to notice about our nails. Anytime that cuticle gets in bad shape, the nails are going to begin to get in bad shape because they are surrounding the nail. We can also use the cream that we have in our heater as cuticle softener. Cuticle oil does the same thing. It just simply makes the cuticle softer and more pliable. Cuticle remover. Now think about when we talk about a cuticle remover, and that's what this is. What is a cuticle remover removing? Or what has it got to do?
Remove the dead cuticle.
We hope it removes the dead cuticle. I'm not all into cuticle removers either because they're strong chemicals that are capable of removing that.
The whole thing?
Well, no, they're not going to remove the whole thing out from around your nail. But if they're capable of doing that, they've got to have a drying effect on that that's around your nail, or an irritating effect. And they've also got to have an irritating effect on your nail. So only in extreme cases would I use cuticle remover. Dry nail polish is simply a little powder you put on the nails, and then you use your buffer to bring it up to a sheen. Not real popular. Hand creams and hand lotions. Every client does not want to get a hot oil manicure. But personally, I think you should do some form of massaging before the client leaves the salon. It doesn't matter how good of a job you do on their nails. If their hands look dry and cracked and wrinkled, then your manicure can't look its best. So keep some hand cream there for your water bath manicures. And at the end of the service, take some of the hand cream, rub into their hands, and then rub it up their arms and massage so that you have a smooth finish from their elbows down to their fingertips. Liquid nail polish or lacquer, and we know it comes in a lot of shades. This is just one that was set out this morning. It is put on there to give color to the nails. Now we're even doing art with the nails using nail polish or lacquer. Nail bleach. This is Nail Bright, and it's actually to help get rid of stains from hair color. Sometimes it's not bad. Shelling pecans or shelling peas or working in the yard. Put Nail Bright under and over the free edge of the nail. Nail conditioners. I like to use like the botanical oils or the nature's oil to put on there, and it's to help our nail to have some moisture. Nails do have moisture, and they do absorb moisture. Not to a great degree, not like our hand towels, but they do absorb moisture. So we want to put some on there to moisturize dry and brittle nails. Nail dryer. And I've never liked that name, nail dryer. It sounds like it's drying our nails, when actually what we want to do is dry our nail enamel with it. This is just one of them that we use. We do have the spray ones, but we're becoming more conscientious of what our aerosol sprays do to our environment. So we're trying to get away from that. This is called drip dry. And you just take a little in the dropper and then drop it on the nail enamel. It will spread itself out. We also have the brush-ons and the spray-ons. Nail hardener or strengthener. A hardener or strengthener looks just like nail polish, but it has some additives to it, and they tell us about several types of hardeners, and we're going to discuss which ones we think would be the best. Formaldehyde hardener utilizes keratin fibers to strengthen the nail and contain no more than 5% formaldehyde, because more than that could cause damage to the nail. We think we want formaldehyde hardeners. What is another reason we don't like formaldehyde in our products anymore?
Is that the stuff that they make embalming fluid?
That is the stuff they make embalming fluid out of. They have also found out it's carcinogenic, or they suspect it's carcinogenic. It was taken out of our disinfecting because of breathing the fumes of formaldehyde they thought was causing cancer. So I try not to use formaldehyde in anything. So I don't like the formaldehyde hardeners. And why should we use it? We got the nylon fiber hardeners, which is a combination of clear polish and nylon fibers, and we're going to apply it vertically and then horizontally on the nails. We also have protein hardeners, which are a combination of clear polish and a protein such as collagen. Are nails protein like the skin and hair? They are. So a protein hardener not only is going to help the thinness or the flexibility of the nail to harden it so it does better, it's also adding some protein if a little bit seeps into it. Polish remover. Polish remover comes in a lot of forms. This is non-acetone. You would certainly have to use non-acetone if you're changing the polish on someone who has sculpted nails, because to put acetone on there would dissolve their nails also. We want to remember and talk to our clients about polish remover is one of the harshest things we can put on our nails. Even the oily polish remover that is non-acetone still has a very drying effect. And remember that everything we put on our nails potentially can be absorbed into the nails. So that's a little aggravating too. So caution them that they shouldn't change their polish nightly, and be using the polish remover. The polish is not going to hurt, but the polish remover will. We also have polish thinner. This is added to our nail polish whenever it gets too thick and gummy and doesn't want to spread. And you start out with just a drop and add more. And what causes polish, it's supposed to dry. We want it to dry on the hands or on the nails. But then in the bottle, the more of it we use, we have half polish and half air after we use it down. So that air sitting in there gives it a tendency to want to dry. I personally like to go to the mini bottles, but some of the polishes are hard to find in that all the time. But the mini bottles also, you can use them up quicker. But if it gets thick, go ahead and put your little thinner in it. And another question that may arise, if it doesn't during this lecture, I'll go ahead and answer it. It will at some point in time. Is it safe to take this nail polish and polish your nails with it and then turn right around and polish your nails with it? Because I have tore the top off. Because we dip back and forth into it after we touch you. And there's a lot of disturbance about that, and there's another reason we're buying minis is to encourage the client to purchase the bottle of nail polish, brand new. We use it on her, and then she takes it home if she wants the same color next week, because we've not found a way to use nail polishes without re-dipping. Top coat or sealer goes right back to a while ago. When I got in the business, we bought a bottle of top coat and we bought a bottle of base coat. Took us a long time to figure out they were one and the same. So we had a bottle of top coat sitting off over here drying up and a bottle of base coat sitting over here drying up. And finally, some of the companies got to be honest about it, as they knew we'd discovered they'd call theirs such things as top to bottom. But anytime you've got a top coat or you've got a base coat and don't have the other, don't worry about it. They are one and the same. The top coat is used to protect the polish. Some materials we're going to be using. First off is cotton. We use it for a lot of things. To wrap our orange wood stick in, to remove nail polish from the nails. We may have it in our disinfectant tray to keep our metal implements from coming into contact with each other, because when you put metals in liquids, they will rust, but if they're touching, they rust quicker. That's what causes the rust to set in the two metals. We want to have an approved solution for our sanitizer, and we have that with the barbicide. If we're using a Seamus buffer instead of throwaway buffers, we want to have clean Seamus. We want to have the cleanser for the finger baths, which would be our antibacterial soap. A plastic bag, and I keep sandwich bags back there in the back because they work best. We just take a piece of tape and tape the sandwich bag where it's open on the side of the table, and as we use the cotton, whatever we use, we just put it in there. And it also, when we get through, we just flip it closed and put it into a closed container. So if there's anything on that cotton that would be hazardous to somebody, it's double bagged. We have closed the bag on it, and we've put it in a closed container. Plastic cups, and they're for use in the hot oil, and this is why we can just throw it away and don't have to worry about disinfecting. So we get through with one client, we just change the plastic cup and go right on to the next client. Our plastic spatulas, if we have hand creams rather than hand lotions, we need to dip out with the spatula, and once it has been dipped in and dip something out, we can't put it back in there. We need another disinfected one. Our powdered alum or alum solution, if we cut somebody or nick a place or fall into a place, we always put an antiseptic on it. An antiseptic is used to retard the growth of bacteria. We only use alum if there's a lot of bleeding, and we use it to stop the flow of bleeding. So you're going to see that question probably on State Board. You may also use 10 volume hydrogen peroxide if you get a cut. Yeah, that's what you buy at the drugstore if you go buy the brown bottles of it. So it's the same thing as our 10 volume peroxide. We want to make sure we've got our terry cloth towels, and we know we use that on our tables to keep our client from coming in contact with our tabletop, even though we did sanitize our tabletop. We want to have our trash container to put all of our implements in or all of our throwaways in, and again we want it double bagged. And I noticed this wasn't listed in the book, but when we go into pedicures we'll see some more implements. This is what we call a foot paddle, and this is rougher on one side than it is the other. I've also been encouraging all clients to buy this because although they are disinfectable, it is hard to get all the skin fibers out of this file, because oftentimes you bump them like that and you'll see stuff fall out in your hand. But this is a foot paddle. This is used on the calluses and corns on the bottoms and sides of feet and on the back of the heel. Has the rough side and then the smooth side to smooth it off once you've really roughed it up and got rid of all the excess callus. All right, questions? We'll be ready to manicure later today, won't we?